Hi, I'm Perry Black right here at Second Chance Youth Ranch TV, and we've got a great show for you tonight with Senator Kim Hammer, who's very involved in foster care, and he's also a pastor of a local church in Central Arkansas and a great friend of Second Chance Youth Ranch. So don't go away, and we'll be right back with Senator Pastor Kim Hammer. Hey, welcome to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. I'm your host, Perry Black, and our special guest on this show is Senator Kim Hammer. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Perry. Glad to be on with you today.
Now, the one thing we want to talk about on this show is not just foster care and mentoring, but we want to talk about you. Okay. And I know you're also not only a senator, you served previously in the House of Representatives, and for a long time, you've served in the kingdom of God. So before we get too deep in that, tell me a little bit about you.
Sure.
So where did you grow up?
I grew up in Rockford, Illinois, which is north of Chicago, and we lived on a farm about 1 mile off the Wisconsin line. So I grew up on a farm and had the farm values, if you would.
What kind of farm?
It was, we were mainly row crop, but we actually we were kind of organic, if you would. We had our own cows that we did our own milking with. We raised our own hogs that we would slaughter and cow. And then we had a huge garden. My dad was a machinist for a company called Ingersoll Rand, and he would take the product or the produce from the garden and the milk with the cream and everything. He'd take it into the plant and he would sell it. And my mom was a stay-at-home mom, so I had the benefit of having a mom who was with us all the way through childhood, didn't work outside the home. But
did you work in the garden?
Our gardening experience was twofold. One was we did it because we needed to, but then whenever myself and siblings got in trouble, that was our form of punishment. We had to go out and do some extra weeding. Yeah. And Mom was the kind, she didn't want to just see the top, she wanted to see the roots to know we just didn't break it off. So she was pretty proficient at punishing whenever not often did we get in trouble, but when we did,
You have several siblings?
I have a brother and two sisters.
Where do you rank in that group?
I'm the baby.
You're the baby.
Yeah.
Save the best for last?
Well, not according to them. Not according to them. But
were you mama's pet then? Since you were the baby?
I was the unexpected baby too. So that even made it even better.
Wow.
A little bit spoiled.
And so y'all moved to Arkansas from Illinois?
We moved to Arkansas from Illinois between my junior and senior year. My dad retired and we had family down here in the Conway area. So we moved down here, and I actually graduated Southside B Branch. Spent 1 whole year at B Branch, and graduated from Southside.
North of Conway?
North of Conway. Mm-hmm.
Isn't that the school that got hit by a tornado years ago?
It's in Tornado Alley. It got hit by a tornado. Churches. Then a couple of years later, the churches there in the area got hit.
Yeah, and they're rebuilt and beautiful.
Yes.
And that school rebuilt a beautiful gym, and it just happened they were at an away game the night the tornado hit.
That's correct.
The reason I know that because I spoke at that school a couple of times back when I did Red Ribbon and motivational, inspirational, suicide prevention, drug prevention programs. And so I had been to that school previously, and then I came back after the tornado and saw their new beautiful gym. So that's a typical God thing, that God turns what's meant for our harm for our good.
Yes.
And that's a beautiful community though up there.
Quick little story. When I was full-time chaplain for Saline Memorial Hospice over here, we had a patient that came in one day, and she was 95, and we got to talking like preachers like to do. And she was actually in the graduating class in 1923, I think it was, that put those white stones out there that are still there today.
Still there.
That spell out Southside.
So everybody that goes to Branson or northwest Arkansas, they see that area right there. And that's a beautiful area.
It is a beautiful
area. So
area.
how many were in your graduating class?
Total of 18.
So were you were the last to be born. Were you the last in the class?
I was I was in the middle of the pack, shall we say. So I wasn't hot, I wasn't cold. I was right in that lukewarm category.
And so at what point did you sense a call to ministry?
It was while I was there. My call to ministry began in my senior year. I was raised in church. My dad was a deacon in a church, and we had always gone to church all of our life. So I had I had a deep spiritual appreciation, if you would, and had accepted the Lord when I was younger. But the Lord started working on my heart when I was there. I was a member of First Baptist, which is a missionary Baptist church there of the BMA. They affiliated like with Central Baptist there in Conway. And so the Lord started working on me there, but it was a process. It took 2 or 3 years for me to finally fully come around to that's what He wanted me to do.
Did you have some sort of impact in your life in a vacation Bible school, a Sunday school, a church service, or a teen camp, or what? A combination of those things?
2 things, 2 preachers. One was a gentleman named Cecil Burgess, who's well known in the BMA rank of Missionary Baptist, and he was my pastor there at First Baptist. And so he was really instrumental. And then when I went to Conway, which is where I met my wife, a gentleman named Doyle Glass, he pastors up in a little community called Birdtown now. And Doyle was very instrumental in my being led into the ministry because they helped bring a lot of clarity to things.
Now, you do have some involvement in foster care we'll talk about here in a little bit. So how did you ultimately make your way from Illinois to B Branch to Tull? Well, actually to Benton first.
To Benton.
To Benton. How did you make that? So you went to college somewhere?
I started off with CBC in Conway, but I actually ended up graduating with a degree from Trinity College of the Bible out of Newburgh, Indiana. And I had a stop along the way at Missionary Baptist Seminary. So started, it took me a while to figure things out but I did get my formal education finally by finishing up with Trinity College of the Bible out of Newburgh, Indiana.
Yeah. And so you made your way then to, where was your first full-time position? Was that at Holland Chapel in Benton?
No, I've pastored in 4 churches in my over 40 years of ministry. First one was at a church called Oakdale Baptist Church up in Jutsonia. I was there about 4.5 years, then went to a church in Desert called Lakeside Baptist Church. I was over there for about 5 years. Then came to Benton, which my father-in-law was sick with cancer, and we came home to take care of him, and started attending Holland Chapel. And the pastor then at the time, he just felt led to offer me the job, and I was associate pastor administrator there for 16 years at Holland Chapel.
Was that Pastor Jim?
Jim Harrell.
Yeah.
And he had Discover the Joy.
Yeah.
Carried on this network.
So a lot of people know him and his family and that ministry.
Yeah. Sandy still carries on the ministry.
Yeah. So I want to know more. We're going to take a brief break, but I want to know more. If you're married, got kids, grandkids, do you still have any pigs or cows or anything like that? And what you're doing to help children in foster care. So we're going to take a break. We'll be right back with Senator Kim Hammer, Pastor Kim Hammer, Brother Kim Hammer. We'll be back with you in just a moment for some Hammer Time. Have you ever considered a Christian education for your child? Then you should check out Arkansas Christian Academy, Saline County's fully accredited premier Christian school at an affordable family rate. Students have opportunities to excel in academics, athletics, fine arts, and technology. And through our dual enrollment program, high school students can even achieve an associate's degree prior to graduation. Visit us at arkansaschristianacademy.org.
Terry Tripp's Empower Minute.
To realize the value of a year, ask a student who just failed a grade. To realize the value of a month, ask a lady who just gave birth to a baby prematurely. To realize the value of a week, ask the person who lives week to week, paycheck to paycheck. To realize the value of a minute, ask me who has missed an airplane by 1 minute. To realize the value of a second, ask the person who just avoided an accident. To realize the value of 1/100th of a second, ask the person who won the silver instead of the gold medal. Never underestimate the value of a day, of a month, of a year, of a minute, of a moment. Make today count. I want to encourage you to support this station financially. They are proclaiming God's Word every minute of every day of every year.
Welcome back to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. On this program, we're talking to Pastor and Senator Kim Hammer, and we just found out that he's from Illinois. I did not know that. I say Illinois. And I thought maybe you moved from there because it's so noisy, but no, it's not actually Illinois, is it?
No, it would be a modern day referral to Egypt where you want to get out of, is the way I look at it, but Illinois. So
Illinois.
Illinois.
And I just slaughter the English language. I don't even speak American well.
No, I understand.
So, but you made your way here to Central Arkansas. You've been in ministry for how many years, did you say?
Over 40.
40 years. How many were in your graduating class? This
18.
is a test.
18.
18. We just had at Arkansas Christian Academy, we just had our 4th annual graduating class, and we had 16.
Very good.
So I feel a lot better now. So that means you can become anything in America and you don't have to have a big graduating class?
I think sometimes the smaller schools serve a greater benefit.
More of a family atmosphere even in a small public school, isn't it?
That's true, and greater accountability and connections.
True.
I just think small schools serve a very unique purpose in a student's life growing up. Not that large schools are bad, but I think there's room for all sizes, and kids adapt differently to different size schools.
Well, I graduated, I know that's a shock to some of you, but I graduated Little Rock Central High School.
Oh yeah.
And
Big.
600 and some odd students. I was not one of the odd ones. 600, over 600, I think we had 650 or so in my graduating class.
That's a lot
and
of
again,
kids to know.
You know, for me to graduate, my mom was excited. Her goal was just that all of her kids, all 5 of us at that time, Paula, Paul, Perry, Pat, and Pam, we grew up on Hog Farm in Jonesboro, and she just wanted us all to get a high school diploma. And some of us actually did that, so my mom was real pleased.
Yeah.
So
She saw it as a pathway of opportunity for you.
and it was. I wish I would have done better, paid more attention.
Yeah.
So can you tell me how long have you been married?
We've been married going on 42 years.
42, and you don't look a day over 20.
Well, I don't
Father,
feel
forgive me for I'm lying right here on TV.
That's because I have a good wife who keeps me young and keeps me healthy, so I'm blessed.
And you've got children?
Have 3 kids.
And how old are they? Do you remember?
Oh, give or take. They all start around the 38 mark and work their way down to the 25-year-old mark. So
Got grandchildren?
I've got 5 grandchildren.
Oh, so you can't retire.
No, can't retire, or they take all my time.
Yeah.
But they're a blessing, let me tell you.
So how did you go from just doing what us preachers do, and that's fulfilling the call of God in our life, preaching the gospel, loving people, impacting our communities? How did that go from that to the political arena? Because you served first in the House of Representatives for the state of Arkansas, now in the Arkansas State Senate. How did that all transpire real quick?
When I was on staff at Holland Chapel, we were a very community-involved church. We reached out, and I believe that the Lord uses us all in all sorts of areas if we're willing to follow Him wherever He chooses to lead us. I don't think we need to set up barriers that says to God, no, I won't go there just because it may not be thought by people. That's where you need to go. We need to be God-driven, not people-driven.
Let me ask you a question, and I warned you I'll interrupt you, didn't I, off television here. A guy said the other day, a dear friend of mine said, now that our churches are open again, if churches would stay out of politics, maybe government would stay out of the churches. Loaded question. You want to touch that one? Because you're a politician, you're a preacher.
Yeah. Well, I believe in separation of church and state as far as
As long as the state will leave us alone.
as long as the state does not enforce or impose laws that would limit the church's ability to share and spread the gospel.
Doesn't the First Amendment address the
Free
church
speech.
won't be infringed upon by the state? Nowhere does it stay in the Constitution or the amendments that the church stays out of the government, because the church is made up of people, and the people are the citizens who are supposed to be they govern at the consent of the governed. So, you want to touch that as a senator?
Well, as a senator, I vote my conscience. And the question comes down to who controls your conscience.
Yeah, there you go.
And I would prefer that God would control my conscience, because throughout the history of this nation and throughout the history of the world, if people's conscience are controlled by God, you get better laws, which makes for better government over the people. And within God's Word are strong, not only moral principles, but governmental principles. And so I think that having individuals that are willing to serve dual roles, both in a ministry capacity like mine, but also in a governmental capacity, gives you the best of both. I know it's been frowned upon in the past, but more and more we are seeing individuals that are in the ministry getting involved in government, which I think makes for better government.
And it makes some people's head explode, doesn't it?
It makes a lot of people's heads explode, which that's okay. Maybe some heads need to explode, but
Well,
that's okay.
everyone in our society needs to have a voice, and that's part of what government is about.
Right.
Now, you made that migration into government, so now in these next couple of moments, tell me, you are involved in foster care, working with DCFS. You have been a strong friend and advocate for us at Second Chance Youth Ranch. So how does that work for you and you working with foster care? You're using your Christian and political influence to advocate for children in care. We got 1 minute and then we're going to take a break.
Sure, and let me say this. I don't think the Lord intends us to invoke our beliefs
Yeah.
on the government. I think what the Lord intends us to do is to lead by example.
Maybe influence?
Influence, have the ability to have the authority to be able to use in a positive way, that when you sit down with somebody who is recognized as from the government, that you can utilize that influence as a senator to bring perspective to a situation that otherwise might not be introduced into the conversation.
Sprinkle a little salt.
Put a little
Let
salt.
your speech be seasoned with salt. Yeah.
Exactly. And create that thirst. I will say this, in Arkansas anyway, a lot of people that serve in government roles have a deep personal appreciation for Christian values.
Yeah.
And they are more limited in their role than I am in mine. And I think that's the blessing of what we've got to protect as an environment in Arkansas, is that we do have a culture of Christianity represented in people who are employed by the government. And we need to pray for those individuals,
Yeah.
because sometimes they are put in a very limited position.
Yeah, prayer in action gives life traction, doesn't it?
Yes,
We're
sir.
going to take a brief break, and we're going to come back and talk about your involvement in as an advocate for foster care, your connection with me and Second Chance Youth
Sure.
Ranch, and how others can get involved in what God is doing to change lives for children in care. And so we'll be right back.
A mission field around you is filled with young hearts needing a forever family. And at Second Chance Youth Ranch, our team is committed to providing healthy, stable, loving homes and families to hurting children in the Arkansas foster care system and those up for adoption. Please contact us if you feel the tug at your heart to help foster or adopt, and find out the steps you could take to help fulfill a child's lifelong dream. Maybe you can't foster or adopt, but you could help. The need for thousands of children in the system is staggering. But with the help of faithful partners and business alliances, we are meeting those needs right now. Would you help us make a difference? Every gift, regardless of size, impacts a child's life directly and helps provide for a home in the gap right now. Visit the Second Chance Youth Ranch website at 2CYR.org to read more, watch the stories, and to make a contribution for a hurting child's care. Monthly partners are needed, so please contact us right away. And as you partner with this ministry, you are partnering with the Heavenly Father that has promised to be Father to the fatherless. God bless you for helping Second Chance Youth Ranch.
We support a lot of foster care organizations across the state. What makes Second Chance Ranch unique is what Pastor Perry says often, is that it's not a group home, but it's a group of homes. And so one of the reasons we've been so involved with Second Chance Ranch is that we love the fact that you're making a difference in kids, a real difference in kids. Life is about the legacy that you leave. And at the end of the day, God called us to help people. And He called us to help people that can't help themselves. And so, why do we support the ranch? Because we want to help kids that are hurting. And we want to help an organization that is truly helping those kids. So, why should other people do that? To me, it's real simple. Is that you're only as good as the legacy you leave. And there's no greater thing to do than to help hurting kids.
What more could you ask for to make an impact on a child's life? And I really feel like that's part of the reason why we have the business, is that we've been given so much, and it's our calling to give back to the places that God is doing a major work in people's lives. You don't have to worry that your money is not going to be used for the kids. The people that run Second Chance Ranch have integrity, and the money goes for the kids.
Hey, welcome back. I pray you're being challenged, informed, and perhaps even encouraged. But more than that, we want folks to be inspired to get connected to children in care. At Second Chance Youth Ranch, we have an opportunity for you to become a house parent, a foster parent, an adoptive parent, or a therapeutic foster parent, or a mentor. Or if you don't want to do any of those things, just come out and run a weed eater.
Yeah, or be a giver.
Just be a giver. We'd love people to be givers. And we encourage you to support. And we believe very strongly what you make happen for others, God makes happen for you. Second Chance Youth Ranch, we needed $100,000 to get city water 3.5 miles through the woods. And so you know what we did? We drilled wells through James Robinson's ministry in Africa to drill well and give water to children in a foreign country. And it was only a matter of time until we received city water at Second Chance Youth Ranch. We believe if you want to harvest, you got to plant a seed.
That's right. That's the way God works. He rewards those who do exactly what you're doing.
He loves a cheerful giver. So smile and send a check today. If you don't want to send a check, just send cash. We don't mind. People say all the time, "Do you take credit for any of this?" No, I don't take credit for any of this. I do take cash. But I don't receive any compensation for what we do at Second Chance Youth Ranch. I'm the executive director and founder. But I want everybody to know we are about one thing: changing the lives of hurting people, specifically hurting young people. So you've been a real advocate on our behalf and the children of Second Chance Youth Ranch. You and some of the other in the House helped with some funding for all children in private schools to be able to have school choice, to go to private school. And we've had numerous conversations and meetings. But tell me, how are you involved with children in care and making a difference, working with Misha Martin and DCFS and that whole wonderful team downtown? Because there are some great people down there doing a great work.
And sometimes they're in a thankless situation
They
because they have to work from rules and regulations that are passed down from DC that maybe they don't particularly or personally agree with.
Yeah.
But because they are servants of the government, they've got to do what they got to do. However,
and they're easy to attack.
yes,
They're easy to criticize, but they're doing something. Thank God somebody's doing it.
well, and we have the kind of working relationship, Director Martin and myself have the kind of relationship that we can take the biblical phrase, iron sharpening iron, and not use those swords to attack each other, but to attack the problem. And I think that's what you got to have in a working relationship whenever you are an elected official like myself, and they are employees of a governmental agency, and then there's you, the provider, that's out there in the real world actually doing the delivery of the services, in this case, foster parents and foster children.
Oh, and you talk about regulations. We broke ground, television, media, the newspapers picked up on it, and my gosh, I was inundated with government agencies, with policies, rules, and regulations. And you know, I'm a policy guy, but it's just frustrating. But we're all kind of at the mercy of that, and that's why it's so important to have godly people and good people involved in our government, because those are the ones that can at least amend the laws if they need to be, not just write them.
Or advocate for you whenever there's a question, because a lot of laws have intent.
Yeah.
And if you can use that intent in order to bring about a fair understanding of what the law is intended to do, so it's not just so hardcore black and white. The one thing that I find too is in the regulations that are passed down from the federal level, and then the state has to enforce those, because with those regulations come the money.
Come funding. Yeah.
But a lot of times people like Second Chance Ranch and some others I could name, you're paying for the sins of others.
Yeah.
And so somebody else somewhere else in another part
Yeah.
of the state or another part of the nation has done something that's drawn the attention of the federal delegation of elected officials, and they just kind of throw a blanket over everything.
Kind of one size fits all.
One size fits all.
We've
And you
seen
get-
that back in the COVID thing. We see it in everything. In my construction business, residential and commercial construction, same thing. Somebody slips and falls, so they write a code.
Right.
And it kind of gets out of control sometime, and that's why it's so important to have someone that's involved. How did you get involved in foster care and your church? Because your church actually is very involved in supporting those in care.
We are. Of course, our church supports Second Chance Ranch, and my family and I, we support you personally, so we support Second Chance Ranch. But our church also has a family now who are foster parents,
Man,
and
that's
they
awesome.
are just now, they are doing respite care, their first toe in the water.
Yeah.
John and Ashley Davis, I guess I'd say their name, John and Ashley Davis, are members of the church I pastor, and they are actually doing their first stint at being respite foster care parents for a person.
That's great.
And so we are looking at bringing more attention to that through our church. We're very supportive of the call,
Yeah,
and
that's
that's
a great
really how I got
organization.
involved with foster parent, was because of the call and my political affiliation, and they reached out for some help on something, which that's what I'd encourage people out there, that especially if you're a pastor, use the position God has put you in for the greater good.
So let's address that, because we've got 1 minute left in this show, and that is simply this. There are organizations out there to help people. A lot of times even in ministry, we don't step forward because of the fear of the unknown or lack of information. And here's what we want you to know. The Call, Project Zero, Second Chance Youth Ranch, Arkansas Baptist Homes, Hillcrest or Compact in Hot Springs, Soaring Wings in Conway. There's so many great organizations that will help you to help us make a difference. And I'm here to tell you, and I love the fact that you've now got a family in your church that's now doing relief fostering for a family that's doing it full time, because there's so many avenues and opportunities to get involved. And that's why this show is on the air. That's why it exists with our partners at Victory Television Network. And that's to get the word out that there is a place for you where you personally can make a difference. And we would love to connect you with us or another organization in your community that can help you make a difference in the lives of a hurting child. We look forward to hearing from you, and so we'll see you again right here next week at Second Chance Youth Ranch TV, right here on Victory Television Network. God bless you. I look forward to hearing from you.